Hi, and welcome to Now TV Canada. I am Just Jen YouTube channel. I am Just Jen, and it is December 1st of 2024, and my heart grieveth me. My smile to try to find joy in the moment, but my heart grieveth me. I don't even know how to find the words for it. From the time that I was sitting at the library and saw the flashing news story on the side of the screen about Sarah Sharif, the girl that died last year in the UK, at the hands of her own family members, her real mother and father, and one of them have a brother, and their DNA is on all the weapons that their campaign of abuse on her was eventually what took her life. I lost it because I'm like, what are we doing in this world, in this society at this point, in trying to stop crimes, especially crimes against children? And right here in Canada, we have another story of a little girl whose body was found a year and a half after the death took place in Toronto, where an anonymous call was made to where her body was decomposing, wrapped in a crochet blanket, then wrapped in plastic, and then wrapped in another plastic bag of some sort, or plastic of some sort, and then left in a garbage can on a debunked construction site, so where there's no more work being done and nobody goes there. She was 3.5 years old when she died. Nobody noticed her. Doctors, dentists, daycares, missing. Nobody asked about her. What's wrong? This is Canada, right? Not even the mom had made any efforts to lift a finger to pick up her phone and call to talk to her child or ask about her well-being. And when the police were looking for DNA proof to figure out whose child she was, they had to go through all these different records. I think it had something to do with the teeth that eventually led them to the mother's doorstep to do DNA with her permission. Of course, she agreed to find that it is her child, and then ask her what her issue is behind that. And she's like, oh, well, the child doesn't live with me. But you gave birth to this child, a baby, and she's literally still just a baby. Like, don't you care at all? And people are fighting over abortions and whether or not they should be allowed. Well, when a child is that unwanted and that forgotten, it's okay to have an abortion. It's okay to choose to not bring something into the world that's going to end up dead, wrapped in blankets and plastic and garbage cans. So the reason I'm bringing it up today is because to this day, in their investigation, they have not declared that little girl's death a homicide. So there's no premeditation in her being wrapped in a crochet blanket, then wrapped in plastic, and then wrapped in another blanket, and then hidden in a garbage can on a construction site that nobody's working on, and left that way for a year and a half before an anonymous caller tells them where the child is. Well, of course it's a homicide. And so I'm like, how can I be in a country that calls itself great, right? This is, oh, Canada. And then, of course, this little girl in the UK, this other thing happening with Sarah Sharif. A campaign of abuse is what the article wrote it. And they're going through the courts right now testifying of their reasoning behind who done it kind of thing. There should be no court case. People who are that bad should have had their heads cut off. Like, they should be immediately taken off the planet, wiped away. We could use the U.S. death penalty facilities to take people that are that bad there, and within 7 days, end it. But when there is a finding of 11 fractures in a child's spine and brain injury so severe you could never recover from it and never walk again and never see the inside of an ER, these people should be removed from the planet. Like, I don't even know how they're even able to have children. So I don't know how we can call ourselves human, or what being human is. So I'm constantly turning back to the Bible, turning back to scripture and looking for hope. And this is December. And I had a story I wanted to share before all that happened, which came from the book of Jeremiah leading up to December 25th, around Jesus and all of the hope through him that there is. So I wanted to take today to sort of reflect from there and sort of move ahead and pick up from the trauma of me being really upset that I'm in a country where these sorts of announcements get shared but no justice ever takes place. Another teenage boy in Surrey missing October 22nd was the report. Apparently he's been dead since the day he was reported missing. They've now found his body, and he was dead that whole time. And there's still no report in the investigation on what's happened. What's happening in our world when we have no control in our society to that extent, where these kinds of crimes are going on so just blatantly and so out in the open around us. And you really think that owning cars and driving around in cars is the only solution to avoiding being a target and pretending like none of it's happening as long as you can drive? So I thought it's time to turn to scripture and sort of try to find a way around understanding where we're at and what's coming, and how to find a way with each other to sort of get there. So I'm reading from Jeremiah, which was my goal originally before, when all of this stuff was coming at me while I was working on the Smallville movie. I wanted to read bit by bit to we got to December 25th, and I didn't get to do that. So I'm going to pick up from Jeremiah chapter 10. And the little opening at the top there says, "Learn not the way of the heathen. Their gods are idols and molten images. The Lord is the true and living God." So anybody who knows God's name knows it's Jehovah in the English translation. Yahweh, Elohim, Elisha, whatever. There's 1,000 different ways of announcing his name, but in English it is Jehovah. So I will use that name. "Hear ye the word which Jehovah speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Jehovah, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of a forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither is it in them to do good." So things that we make out of wood and stand still and then adorn and stuff, like, can't hurt us because it isn't real and it wasn't born. And so that's the idea of like what people are doing in the world. Anything that's wrong looks great, so let's do it. "For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations?" So, of course, Jehovah is the only God in all of the universe to be listening to be afraid of. "For thee doth obtain, for thee doth it appertain, for as much as among all wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like unto thee. But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities. Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz, the work of the workmen, and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the works of cunning men." So what God is trying to say is that whatever he tears down, everybody in the evil system, everybody in the adversary system is building up. So what he builds up, God builds down. So he's always up, down, sideways. There's this straight going on. So there's constant cunningness, deception, and distraction. But the Lord is the true God. So Jehovah is the living God and the everlasting King. At his wrath the earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation. Thus shall ye say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth, and from under these heavens. He hath made the earth by his power. He hath established the world by his kingdom, and hath stretched out the heavens by his discretion. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causeth the vapors to ascend from the end of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. Every man is brutish in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. right? So idol worshiping is wrong, right? There's no life in them, and it's not going to bring you rain or thunderstorms or showers and solve your problems. There is vanity and the work of errors, and the time of their visitation they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name, so Jehovah is his name. Gather up thy wares out of the land, O inhabitants of the fortress. For thus saith Jehovah, behold, I will sling out the inhabitants of the land at this once, and will distress them, that they may find it so. So he will at some point confuse and stress out the people, the doing wrong, and send them packing. So my point is, God's had to watch these children die and watch their crimes go unsolved, like the little girl whose body was in the garbage can for a year and a half. And I bet you 99.9% God is the one that instilled it in the hearts of a person, or the person who knew where to report where the baby was to the police anonymously, so that he could move this case forward, so that it could be made known to the people, unveiled to the world, that this secret was out there, that this child had been put in this situation. Woe is me for my hurt. My wound is grievous. But I said, truly, this is a grief, and I must bear it. So it is true that God must bear and grieve for what he sees in this world that goes on with humans and all of these different things, like that little girl. And then the story with Sarah Sharif from last year, who died at 10 with all those horrible injuries brought upon her body. And there's this whole world of people and these promises that God keeps giving. So when you look at all this stuff going on in the world, my point is, I have that hope that God has got to a point where he's had enough. We're at an end where something is going to be done. A change is imminent, and it's upon us. And as I've been reading scripture recently about politicians and all these rich people taking place in the offices where there's no more politicians because there's no more real good leaders, that we are there. We're at that place in prophecy and time where God will reveal himself, where Jesus will reign with his kingdom on heaven forever, where things will slowly clean itself up because they will get rid of the bad, like it says there. So it goes on to say, O Lord, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. O Lord, correct me, but with judgment, not in thine anger, lest thou bring me to nothing. Pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not, and upon the families that call not on thy name. For they have eaten up Jacob and devoured him and consumed him and have made his habitation desolate. So the prayer is to just that hope that the earth will finally, clean up, that we will get to some place where there's going to be some hope and some promise, where we can wake up and not constantly see these bad things in the news. Just the other day, there was another story of a woman trying to drive her car into the Fraser River with her kids in it. And I think the last 3 or 4 months, I've seen so many pop-up news stories, headlines of moms trying to do that with their kids. I'm frazzled. I'm like, I want to leave this country. I want to go anywhere where they don't put negative things like that as headliners in the news all the time. So the best thing to do is be very mindful about what you pick and choose to read. Don't read everything that comes in. Make sure that what you're reading is, truth and accurate and, relevant to you and your situation, but just ignore it, right? Because the whole world isn't just all negative. There is good people. There is love. God is love. So we have to work together to build on that together, on what we can do to get that stronghold necessary to get things under control, so we can take back what does belong to us and find ways for the people that want to do bad and be bad and report bad, that to be on their way, that they can't stay and take over and win against us, because love is stronger than hate and love is permanent. So I guess that's sort of what I wanted my Sunday lesson to be for everyone today. Love is permanent. Stay strong and realize that although it looks like it's out of control and there's all this bad stuff going on, it is just really imminent of signs of these times that God is here with us, and that there are going to be things changing. So let's keep our eyes open for that change, that stuff, those changes coming, and be excited about the new world that will come with all of those changes, because I sure as heck I'm ready to get to the other side of it. I want to see new life, newborn, just an end to all of this version of stuff. Okay, guys, you have a good one. I'll be back later, just to end the day on a Sunday note in the evening. This week I will be returning to finishing the Smallville movie book 1. Keep your eyes tuned on that, and more of the 8 Mile 2 book as well. Have a great Sunday. I've ordered myself my Christmas gift already. It's like a 5-in-1 Cuisinart blender thingy, which has always been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars too expensive for me. So I've waited years, and now it's ready at a price where I could afford to get it for discounted price that it was on sale at. So I'm making gingerbread cookies. So you'll see those in short videos and other videos later today for the first time, like the actual little breads, and they're going to be decorated. I don't know how good my decorating skill is going to be. I bought these little bottles where the tubes just decorate. So it's a little kit. There's like a teapot and some like bubble where you chat, like when you're in the cartoon and you're doing the talking, and they sit on the edge of your cups. So we'll see how well I do on that. So that's my stay-at-home day of rest task for December 1st. So keep your eyes tuned out for that and see how well I do. Hope you guys all have a good Sunday. Stay safe, stay warm, and stay well. Peace out. Superwoman signing off. Now TV Canada here in Vancouver. Bye.